Today we are going to do the process of transport out of the life processes. Already we have seen life process, nutrition and respiration. Now we'll go to the next one, transport. Okay. In this video, I'm going to tell you about transport in plants. Why is transport necessary? Okay. Every organism is made up of so many cells. Millions and millions of cells are present, isn't it? So, what is necessary for survival? All the cells must get enough of the essential substances, maybe food, oxygen, water, etc. Okay. So, some substances are made in some parts of the body, but it has to go throughout the body. Okay. For this only transport is important, whether it's a plant or an animal. So now if we take transport in plants, like I told you, this transport also is a life process, because without that the plant or animal cannot survive. So the life process in which a substance made or absorbed in one part of the body of an organism is carried to different parts of the body. That is what is meant by transport. But in animals this is going to be a very difficult task. Okay, if you see in plants, transport system is very much simpler, because plants don't move around, they are less active. So whatever oxygen and carbon dioxide they need, they will get it by diffusion, which is not possible in humans. What is to be transported in the plants? In plants, you have to transport water and minerals. Okay, water and minerals absorbed by the roots, and food is prepared in the leaves. That food has to be transported to different parts of the plant. What type of transport system is present in plants? In plants, whenever we talk about transport, there are two things which we should remember: the xylem and the phloem. The xylem carries water and minerals, whereas the phloem, it carries food made by the leaf to different parts of the plant. Not only that, plants also have plant hormones in them. You will learn about this in the lesson control and coordination. Okay, so plants also, hormones are produced. Where are they produced? In all the growing parts like the root and shoot tips. So that hormones, for it to go to different parts of the plant also, it is done through the phloem. So there are two transport systems. One is the xylem and the phloem. So xylem carries water and minerals, phloem carries food. Now how are water and minerals transported? Okay, first, you know, the roots are in contact with the soil, and what is present in roots? Roots have tiny small things called as root hairs, isn't it? Hair-like structures. What do the root hairs do? They will help in absorbing. So through root hairs, water and minerals will be absorbed. Okay, and that has to go to the stem, leaves and flowers. How does it go? Through xylem vessels and something called as tracheids. And this water, okay, water also is there, water absorbed, minerals are absorbed. That water is also used to make food by the process of photosynthesis. Okay, now we'll see in detail about what is xylem vessel. Okay, xylem vessels actually are non-living. They'll be like long tubes. You can compare them to a drain pipe. Okay, they will move throughout a plant. They're made up of dead cells, and they will be hollow inside. Okay, these dead cells, we call them as vessel elements. Many vessel elements joined end to end. It will run like a whole pipe. That is what is a xylem vessel. But at the end walls will be broken down so that the tube is open and there is a connection between one tube and the other. So where does this actually start? Xylem starts from the root of the plant and it reaches up to the stem and leaves. And xylem vessels will go into every leaf of the plant. Actually, xylem does not contain cytoplasm or nucleus, okay, because I told you they are made up of dead cells. But xylem vessels have walls which are made up of cellulose. And there is something else called lignin also present in the walls. Lignin, you can compare it to cement. Lignin is very hard, it's a very strong substance. And what does this do? It provides strength to the stems. It makes the plant stand upright. Okay, if you take wood and all, it will be full of lignin only. It will be so hard, isn't it? So xylem vessels also, they have some things called as pits. Okay, pits means they are not open pores, but in the cell wall, where there is no lignin, that part of the cell wall will be thin. Okay, so those regions we called as pits. And so generally what I am trying to say is pits means unthickened cellulose cell wall. Okay, so this is what is present in the xylem. Please note that in flowering plants, these xylem will transport water only, okay, or both xylem vessels and tracheids are there which will transport water. This is in the case of flowering plants. So I was just telling you about what is xylem, how is its structure. Okay, still I have not told you how it works, but still we'll go to the next. There's one more thing, okay, the tracheids. Tracheids are spindle shaped. Spindle means like needle, thin, long they will be, and they have pits in their thick cell walls. Okay, but here water will flow from one tracheid to another through these pits only, but they are also dead cells and lignified walls, but there's a difference between them. Okay, so they don't have open ends, so they won't form vessels. They are elongated cells, they have tapering ends, and even the ends are not completely open. Okay, but they have pits, and through these pits water can pass from one tracheid to another. All plants will have tracheids, but in non-flowering plants these only will be the water conducting tissue. All right. If you say in flowering plants, you'll see both xylem and tracheids may be present, but in non-flowering plants, you'll see only tracheids. So what you see here is the picture of xylem and tracheid. The xylem is on the left side. Can you see? It is long, okay, like a tube, and there are gaps where the cell wall has been broken, and wherever there are thin areas, we call it as a pit, and there is a thick part. In that thick part only lignin will be present, and there will be no cytoplasm, and that is the end of the wall. But on the right hand side you can see the tracheid, how it looks, see, like a worm. It is long and tapering, and you can see those dot like things, those are the pits. Okay, now what do we have on this slide here? This is the mechanism of transport of water and minerals. Now I have already told you how the xylem looks, its construction. You cannot say construction exactly, but how it looks. And tracheids, okay, what are the structures present in the tracheids? Now using these structures, how water and minerals are transported, okay, that is what we have to see now. Plants take in water, and in the water itself dissolved minerals will be there. That's why I say transport of water and minerals from the soil through the roots. You know, the root has fine hair in it, okay. So the roots of the plant will have hair, and those are called as root hairs. What is the function of this root hairs? It is to absorb water and minerals from the soil. Why they are able to do it means, root hair will be in direct contact with the film of water in between soil particles, okay. So by diffusion, water and all those dissolved minerals with it will get into the root hair, okay. This liquid, that is the water containing minerals which the root hair absorbs, we call that as xylem sap. So from the root hair will absorb it, and from one cell to the other it will keep moving the xylem sap by the process of osmosis. Okay, the plants will take in water, that is the root hair will take in water by the diffusion process, but it will move from one cell to the other by osmosis. Okay, it will reach the xylem vessels in the root. The xylem vessels in the root will be connected to the xylem vessels in the stem. So slowly from the root to the stem, the xylem sap will pass. Slowly it will come up to the stem, and it will reach the petiole of the leaves. What is petiole of a leaf? It's the stalk. Okay, and then it will branch out into the leaf. So water from the root, okay, reaches up to the leaf. But please note that only a small amount of the water absorbed is used for photosynthesis, roughly 2%. Okay, only 2%. What happens to the remaining water which is sucked up? Yeah, transpiration. Through transpiration, the rest of the water is lost in the form of water vapor. How does water first move into the xylem vessels? Okay, the root hair will absorb it, fine. You can think, suppose we are going to drink juice, okay, using a straw. How does the juice ascend up the straw? You will try to draw it up. How do? You try to suck there, isn't it, on top of the straw. You may have a sound when you suck the juice on top. What happens actually? When you suck the air there, low pressure is created at the point where your mouth is near the straw. Always, what will happen because of the low pressure, from higher pressure the liquid will come up. Okay, so because of that pressure, the juice comes up into your mouth. You're actually creating a suction. Okay, that's the same way in which water goes into the xylem. Then who does the job of sucking the water from up? That is transpiration. Okay, that is the work of transpiration. What do you mean by transpiration? Transpiration is the process by which plants lose water, okay, in the form of water vapor. Alright, so evaporation of water from the leaves of a plant through what? Through stomata. Leaves actually in the plant, they have tiny pores on them which are called as stomata. So water keeps on from the leaf, it keeps on evaporating into the air through the stomata, and this loss of water only is called as transpiration. Now the cells are losing water. Okay, so water from the xylem will go up to the cells by osmosis to compensate this loss of water. So water will constantly, what will happen? It'll be going up. Okay, from the top of the vessels, xylem vessels, it will go up to supply water to the cells in the leaves. So because of this, there will be a continuous pressure on the top of the xylem vessels. So water flows up to them. This is like a force of suction. Okay, so if you see, this transpiration helps in the upward movement of water and minerals from the roots to the leaves through the stem. This is important. Please note it down carefully. Now that we know how water and minerals will go from the root of the plant to different parts of the plant, what about the food and other substances? We all know that the leaf is the kitchen, isn't it, for the plant? Food is made by the leaves. And in what form it is actually the food that is made up by the leaves? It is in the form of simple sugar, glucose. Okay, and like I already told you, in the tips of roots and shoots, wherever you need growth, plant hormones are there. So how are all these transported? Through the phloem. Translocation means transporting food from the leaves to other parts of the plant. It's an often asked question. What is the difference between transportation and translocation? Okay, transportation can mean even the water and minerals going from the roots to different parts of the plant, but translocation is when food is transported. We say that from the leaves to different parts of the plant, that is called as translocation. So who does the job of translocation? Phloem. Phloem will translocate the food, which is the sugar made in the leaves. Okay, and how does this happen? In the phloem, we have certain living cells. Okay, they are called as sieve tubes, and they are responsible for this job. So now we are coming to the phloem. Okay, the phloem is actually made up of, just like the xylem, many cells joined end to end and to form long tubes. Okay, but the end walls of the cells which form the phloem, they are not broken down completely, but you have sieves. Sieves means like something with small holes in it. Where do you use sieves? Sieve, something like a strainer which you use to strain your tea leaves, if you're making tea at home, or you would have seen in construction sites, if they have to remove the pebbles and the gravel and little bigger thing from sand, they will use a sieve. So just like that, the phloem at the end, it has something called sieve plate. Sieve plates means one plate with small holes. Okay, what will pass through the holes? Food will pass through those holes. Okay, so we call these as sieve tubes. They are living cells. They contain cytoplasm but no nucleus, and they don't have lignin also. And who is there with these sieve tubes? With these sieve tubes, each and every sieve tube will have a friend with them. What is the name of that friend? A companion cell. Okay, the companion cell, it has a nucleus, it has other organelles also. Then what is the friend doing? Where is your friend there with you for? Always your friend will supply you with energy, isn't it, to pass the whole day. So like that, companion cells will supply the sieve tubes with certain requirements. Okay. So with each sieve tube, you can find a companion cell. So you should remember one thing. Movement of water and dissolved salts in the xylem is always upward from the soil to the leaves, and this is caused by suction, okay, because of low pressure which is created by transpiration. But movement of food in the phloem can be upwards or downwards depending on the needs of the plant. Alright, that is an important point you should note. In this you can see how food is transported in the plant. Okay, so we'll call the translocation now that you've learned the term. Okay, so translocation, see, translocation requires energy. Alright, Movement of food in the phloem, that is translocation, it takes place by utilizing energy. Okay, you know that for xylem you don't utilize energy, isn't it? For passing of water and minerals through the xylem, no energy is required. Okay, but here energy is required. So food is made in the leaves. How does the food made in the leaves get into the sieve tubes of the phloem? For this, some energy, okay, in the form of ATP is used there. And water also will enter the sieve tubes by the process of osmosis. And because of this, pressure in the phloem tissue will rise. Because of the high pressure in the phloem tissue, the food will move to all parts of plants which will be having lesser pressure in their tissues. Okay, so because of this change in pressure, food is transported, but I should actually say translocated, isn't it? Through the phloem to different parts of the plant. And what will happen to this food? It will be stored. Okay, for example, you see, in some time even the sugar stored in different parts of the plant, like root or stem tissue of a plant, it can be transported through the phloem to buds when they need to grow, when they need energy to grow. Okay, so the xylem and the phloem, they are the two, you can say, vessels. Okay, they are the main transport system in the plants. So let me end this topic with a beautiful picture, okay, showing the transport system in plants. You can see how the roots are present inside the soil and how the xylem tissues carry water and dissolved minerals up to the roots, and the phloem carries food. Okay, now these xylem vessels, whatever they carry, the minerals and water, no, it's going up. But if you see the phloem tissues, they're going in all directions. They carry the food down from the leaf. Okay, from the leaf food is made and it is going to different parts of the plant. But xylem tissues will carry water and dissolved minerals up to the root also. Phloem tissues will carry food up from the leaf. And the important thing that makes all this possible, transpiration, is also given there. So the whole concept is summed up in this diagram. I hope by looking at this slide, you're finding life process transportation in plants a little easy. Do continue to watch our videos on Hayagriva classes.